How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tes, Daf 9 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends, I think we're studying Daf Tes. Are we not? Yeah, come on, Daf Tes. Why not? Yeah, come on. Yeah, let's learn Daf Tes. All right, Chavir, we're learning Daf Tes of BavaBasra. Yes, Agadita. I think mostly about tzedakah, no? I don't know. I think so. Why not? Oh, whatever, why not? Alright. We're going to start on Daf Tes Amud Aleph. 4 lines into the Daf. Hanu, so the Agos Abach gets rid of Beitrei, so let's do that as well. Hanu taboche de avde in yono bade adodi. So there were these butches that they made like a union kazeh, like there were a bunch of butchers in the town, and the thing is that they're gonna they're like gonna cannibalize each other's sales if they all slaughter every day, let's say, or like if they all slaughter on a Monday, well then you're gonna have all the butchers selling meat. Nobody's gonna sell out. Nobody's gonna sell out, and in the end, everyone's gonna be left with extras, right? They didn't have refrigeration, so you're gonna basically, it's gonna go to waste. So therefore, they kind of made a deal with each other that each a butcher gets a day that they shecht on that day, and that way, they'll kind of have the monopoly, I guess you could say. Maybe, I don't know if that's the right word, but they'll have the exclusive. That's probably a better word. They'll have the exclusive selling rights on that day, and that way, they'll be able to sell out. And then the next day somebody else will sell out, and the next day somebody else will sell out. But if somebody else is going to slaughter on somebody else's day, then it's going to be trouble. So, Hanu tabochi de avde in yono bade. So there were these shoichtim that they made a deal. The cholman de ovid b'yom de chabre, that if anybody slaughters on a day that is not his, that's somebody else's day, nikre l'moshche, so we're going to take the hide of the animal that he slaughtered and we're going to tear it up, and we're not going to allow him to benefit from it. And sure enough, one of them was a shmendrik, and one of them slaughtered on somebody else's day, kar l'mishche. So they did what they threatened to do. They tore up the hide. Also, l'kami de Rave. So now they all came before Rave, the victim, at the shmendrik. He's all huffing and puffing and upset that they tore up his hide. They're all huffing and puffing and said, "We told you we would." So chayvinu Rava l'shalume. And sure enough, Rave Take ruled in favor of the shmendrik. Eisve Rav Yemer bar Shlamye l'Rave. So if Yemer bar Shlamye asked the kasha to Rava, v'la'asiya al kitzosim. We had said yesterday that the people of the city are able to enforce their rules, and therefore, if they made a rule that they're allowed to make a rule that one person, that they switch off days for shechita, and they can enforce that rule. So why did Rava rule in favor of the shmendrik? So lo ahader le Rava didn't even answer Rav Yemer bar Shlamya at all. And Rav Papa shap Rava lo ahader le midi. And Rav Papa says it's good that Rava didn't answer Rav Yemer bar Shlamya, because when we say that the people of the city can enforce their rules, that's when there isn't a great person like Rava. But if there's an Adam Choshev, Lav Kol Kiminayu Demasnu, well then they don't have the power to make these deals and enforce these deals. Rather, they should consult with the Adam Choshev, and therefore in this case, they should have consulted with Rava. And they didn't, and therefore he ruled in favor of the shmendrik. Taner Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Ein mechashvin b'tzedakah im gabae tzedakah. We don't audit the distributor of charity funds. Interesting. V'lo behektish im hagizbarin, nor do we audit the temple treasury. The temple treasury was in charge of all sorts of expenses, and things need fixing and thising and thating, and they would have to pay people. and you wouldn't audit them. Even though we don't have a proof for this, a hard, an ironclad proof, we have an allusion to it, a reference to it. Shenemar, as the pasuk says in Ezra, in Malachim, V'loi yichashvu sa'anoshim asher yitnu ha'kesef al yodom losis losa emlocha ki be'emunei mosim, that the people who donated the money for the construction of the temple, they would not audit the temple treasury because the temple treasury was trustworthy. Omer Balazar says, Rabbi Elazar, Afal Pisha yesh lo l'odom gizbar nemun b'soch beiso yatzur v'yimnei. Even though a person has a trusted treasurer in his house, I don't know exactly what that means, but like even in a situation where the person is trustworthy, still you should do like your own accounting. I guess not audit them per se, but still, right? Yatzur v'yimnei. You should, bundle up the money that you're giving, and you should count it up. You should still kind of know what you are giving. All right. I guess still be responsible. Shneimar vayetzu vayimnu, as the pasuk says there also malachim, that they bound up their money and they counted it. Okay. Ravuna says, Ravuna bodkin limzonis vein bodkin lichsus. If somebody comes asking for tzedakah right, to be fed, so we feed him. We don't ask any questions. Vein bod fakert. Bodkin limzonis. If he comes asking for food, so we say, wait a second, who are you? Why do you need food? But if somebody comes and he doesn't have clothing to wear, so then we immediately give him clothing. Ravuna says that he can support this position with a pasuk as well as with logic. Logically speaking, hai ka mivaze vehai lo ka mivaze. Well, a person who doesn't have clothing to wear is, he's in a disgraceful situation. He doesn't have any clothing to wear. So, right. So I don't know if disgraceful is the right word, but very, unfortunate situation. So help him out. Give him clothing to wear. Very, what's the word? Very disgraceful. Did I say disgraceful a minute ago? Degrading. So give him clothing to wear. Ibaisema, alternatively, I can quote you a pasuk. So this is an interesting thing. It says, "Alo paros la roiv lachmecha," right? Distribute to the hungry people your bread. So in the pasuk, it's taka with a samich, but the Gemara is being a whole shtickle Torah about it being with a sin. Halo paros la'arayv lachmecha besin ksiv, meaning so it should be written with a samich, right? Our paros to distribute to, I don't know if distribute is the right word, but to give out bread. So it should be with a samach, but it's written with a sin, says the Gemara. So ksiv besin ksiv parosh v'ader havle. So to first do your research and then give to him. V'asum ksiv, and yet when it comes to clothing, it says kisire arom v'chisiso, that when you will see somebody who's naked, who needs clothing, give him clothing. Kisire la'alter, when you see him, immediately provide clothing. Rav Yehuda Omar says, Rav Yehuda bodkin lichsus v'en bodkin limzonos. Rav Yehuda says, punkt fakert. Bodkin lichsus, that we do research for clothing, ve'en bodkin limzonos, but not for food. Ibaisema svar, ibaisema kra. He also says that either I could argue for this logically or by quoting a verse. Ibaisema svar, I can say logically, Hai komitzayrele, vai lo komitzayrele. A person's hungry, Nebuch doesn't have any food to eat. So don't start doing your research. Just give him epis to eat. He's hungry. He's in physical discomfort. So alternatively, I can quote for you a verse. Alo paros la'roiv lachmecha paros la'alter chedikarinon. So Rav Yehuda says, don't make a drasha of paro, like paros, meaning parosh. No, we even if we're going to say that it's with a sin, but we read it paros to distribute, immediately distribute it. But it says by clothing, kisire arum b'chisiso kisheyeroe l'cha, when it will be seen to you, i.e. after you've done your research and it is clear that this person is in need of clothing, so provide clothing. Tanya Kavasi to Rav Yehuda, we take a brisa supporting Rav Yehuda. Omar Kisuni, Bodkin Achar, Parnesuni, Ein Bodkin. That if a person says, I need clothing, so we do our research. If he says, I need food, we don't do our research, we just provide him with food. Tananasim, we learned over there in Peah, Ein Pochasin La'ani over Mimakum Lamakim. So if you have a poor person who needs food, Mikikar Bepundion Me Arba Soin Besela, alright, that if it were that 4 sa'a of grain of wheat would cost a selah, so then a loaf of bread that at that rate you would be able to purchase for a pundion, that is the size of the loaf of bread we are talking about. So that is the loaf of bread that you should provide. Now, therefore, whatever the inflation, whatever it might be, we're still talking about that same amount of bread. That were it to be that you can get 4 sa'a of wheat for a selah, then that kind of relative size of bread is the size of bread that we are talking about. Lon, if he sleeps over, nosnin lo parnosas lino. So we provide for him what he needs to sleep over. My parnosas lino, what does he need to sleep over? Amar Papa says, Papa puryev uvesadyo, a bed and a pillow. Shabbos, if he's there for Shabbos, nosn lo mozin sholish sudis, you give him enough for 3 meals on the holy Sabbath. Tana imhoya machzir ala psochim ein nizkakin lo. But if he is going around door to door and collecting, well, then he's already figured out how to support himself. In which case, we don't need to provide these things for him. Hau anya. There was a poor person who was going around collecting and trying to make some money that way. And also the comment of Papa, and he came for a Papa lo mizdakik lein, but Papa didn't give him anything. On my lay, Rav Summer bread to Rav Yeva to Rav Papa, so says Rav Summer to Rav Yeva to Rav Papa, imay lo mizdakik lein, Rav Papa, if you don't give him anything, inish achvina lo mizdakik lein, nobody else is going to give him anything, because they say, well, if a Papa didn't give him, then something must be wrong. We're not going to give him either. Lemos, and we're just going to let him die. So, Omarle, so Papa says to him, but what about the Brisa? It says that if you have a poor person who's going around from door to door, we don't need to give him anything, because he's figuring it out on his own. So Omarle, so Rav Yeva responds, we don't necessarily give him a big gift, a big donation, but we would give him epis. Says Rav Asi, a person should give at least 1/3 of a shekel per year in charity. Shneimar, the pasuk says, "Ve'amadnu aleinu mitzvahs." Losis alenu shlishus hashekel bashana lavodas beis elukenu. There's a pasuk from Nehemiah, and it says that we took upon ourselves to give 1/3 of a shekel every single year to the Beis Hamikdash, and we then assume that would be the minimum amount also of charity that a person should give per year. V'amr Ravasi, and says Ravasi, shkula tzedakah kineged kol hamitzvos. That tzedakah has the same weight as all of the other mitzvahs. Sounds like combined. Shenema, as the pasuk says, "Ve'madnu aleinu mitzvahs," that we placed upon ourselves mitzvahs, plural, in this pasuk that we use to learn about tzedakah. Mitzvah in ksiv kan ele mitzvahs. It doesn't say a mitzvah singular. It says mitzvahs plural. Rabbi Elazar says, Rabbi Elazar, gadol ha'maaseh yoser min ha'oseh. Somebody who facilitates people giving charity is greater than those who give the charity, because to facilitate people giving charity is a lot of work. Shenema, as the pasuk says, "V'haya ma'aseh tzedakah shalom." That we want to say ma'aseh, that the one who facilitates the charity is peace. V'avodas tzedakah hashkid v'vetach ad olam. Ad olam, and the work of the tzedakah, I guess the giving of the tzedakah is peace and tranquility forever, but I guess, quiet and tranquility, I guess, forever, but I guess shalom is better than that. Zocha, if a person merits, if a person merits, well then he will be able to give his money to charity. If he does not merit, however, well then that money that he would have / should have given to charity will end up going to, right, will end up going to like taxes to the Roman, right? V'aniyim merudim is a reference to the Romans that they're always begging for money for like the stuff that they like want to have money for. Who knows, like palaces and banquets and gladiators and war and whatever. They're always begging, we need money, we need money, we need money. So therefore, so the pasuk, right? So basically, if you're fortunate, you'll be able to spend this money on tzedakah. If you're not fortunate, well then you'll lose the money anyways, and it'll go to the Roman Empire who's constantly begging for money. So may as well give it to tzedakah instead. Amar lehu Rava livnei Machoza. Rava said to the people of Machoza, "B'matusa minaychu, please, osu ba'adei adadi, help each other out, give charity to the, to whoever needs. Ke'echid l'avelechu shalma b'malchusa, so that there will be peace with the kingship, meaning that they won't come and, collect taxes from you and stuff. Just as long as you're giving tzedakah, then the money will go to tzedakah, you won't have to interact with the Romans." V'amar BavaBasra, and says BavaBasra, "Bizman shebeis hamikdash kaim," that when the holy temple existed, Adam shokel shiklo miskapelo, a person can donate a shekel to the Beis Hamikdash, and it gets used for korbanos, and he gets atonement. Achshav she'ein Beis Hamikdash kaim, now that we don't have a holy temple, im osin tzedakah mutav. So if we give charity, then givaldik. V'im lav, if we don't give charity, boin ovdei kochavim v'notlim bezorah. So then the ovdei kochavim come and then they take our money. So better to give charity. And even so, if the ovdei kochavim come and take our money, it would still be considered like tzedakah shenemar v'nog sayich tzedakah, that your taskmasters are nonetheless, right? It would nonetheless be considered tzedakah. So even if they come and like take your money from you, it would still be considered like it was given to tzedakah. Amar Rava, says Rava, Hai Milsa, the following thing, Ishtoi li was told to me, Ula meshagish or chosed de'ime, the child who made his mother go wacky. And Rashi is of the opinion that is Rav Sheshes, as we will see in just a few minutes. Mishmei Rav BavaBasra, the name of Rav BavaBasra, what does the pasuk mean? Vayilbash tzedakah kishirion, that he adorned tzedakah like armor, like body armor. They say to you, mashirion zeh, just like when it comes to body armor, kol klipa v'klipa mitztarefes l'shirion gadol, that if you have this kind of male body armor kind of thing, that you have all these little pieces, but they add up to make a proper protection. So tzedakah, also charity, kol pruta ufruta, every little bit counts. It adds up, mitztarefes l'cheshbon gadol, and it adds up to a large sum. Rab Chanina Amar Me'achas, Rab Chanina from here, uchveged idim kol tzid kosenu, that it was in Musar to the Yidden. It says that all of our righteousness is really like these clothing that kind of reeks of stuff, I think. Ma beged zeh kol nima v'nima mitztarefes leveged gadol, just like a garment, every single thread joins together to all these little small individual threads join together to make a large garment. Af tzedakah, also charity, kol pruta ufuta, every single penny mitztarefes l'cheshbon gadol ultimately adds up to a large sum. So now the Gemara explains what it means, Ula Mishagesh or Chosed De'ime, this young child who made his mother go wacky. And Rashi says that is a reference to Rav Sheshes. So what's the story? So my correlate Ula Mishagesh or Chosed De'ime, how come they called him the child who made his mother go all wacky? Deba mine Rav Achdevoy bar Ami Rav Sheshes, because Rav Achdevoy bar Ami once asked Rav Sheshes, Minayin the mitzora b'meisvoro shemitame adam. So when a mitzora, who is a leper, and then when his leprosy goes away, so immediately he offers like 2 birds and things, and then he's got to wait another week, and then afterwards is when he brings his korbanos. So how do we know that once the tsaras goes away and he's offered his 2 birds, but he's still in this additional week? How do you know that during this week he would be matame anybody who he touches? Exciting stuff. So how do we know that a mitzora, when he's in this week, how do we know that he is mitame people? So Rav Sheshes responded, Holu mitame begodim, since he's mitame his begodim, right? Because it says there at the end that at the end of the week he needs to wash his clothing. So clearly he's mitame his begodim. So mitame adam. So just like he's mitame kalim, so he's mitame adam oichet. Amalei. But Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami says to Rav Sheshes, Dilma tuma b'chiburim shani. Well, maybe that's different. Maybe, the clothing that he's wearing is different than, just generally being metame kelim. Deha, he sit nevela de metame begadim, because, for example, if a person moves nevela, if you have a dead carcass of an animal, and you move the animal, right, hesses, so then he sit, I guess, tumas hesed, yeah. Okay, I was thinking about Shvuas Hesses. Anyways, so then he becomes tummy, and his clothing also becomes tummy, but he's not matame adam, right? A nevela is an avatuma, so it makes him a rishon latuma, but it's also matame his clothing. But he cannot be matame a person. Ve'enu matame adam, he cannot be matame a person. So the fact that a person's clothing becomes tummy is not necessarily an indication that he'd be matame people. So Omar Lei, so Rav Sheshes says ve'ela sheretz. Okay, what about a dead sheretz? The mitame odom, that a dead sheretz that touches a person, the person becomes tamei. Minolan, how do we know that? Lab mishum the mitame begodim, is it not because if a sheretz touches vessels, touches clothing, it would become tamei? So then also, if it touches people, it becomes tamei. Amalei, Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami responds, sheretz behedyo ksiv be. No, what do you mean by sheretz? It explicitly says that it's mitame people. Oh, ish. Asher yiga b'chol sheretz. If a person touches a sheretz, he becomes tummy. El shichva zera de mitame odom minalan. Okay, so if Sheshes says, let's learn it out from shichva zera, from semen. How do we know that semen would be mitame a person who touches it? Mishum dehoilu mitame begodim mitame odom. Well, since if it gets on clothing, the clothing would be tame. So then also if it gets on a person, then the person would be tame. Omar le shichva zera nami bedja ksiv be. But no, Shichva Zera, it oichit says explicitly, wait 1 second. Yeah, okay, fine. O Lirabos es ha nogea. That when it says O, it's coming to include also, O ish, Lirabos es ha nogea, comes to include somebody who touches it. So basically Rav Sheshes is struggling to come up with a explanation for how we know that a mitzora during this week, after he's already been cleansed of tsaras, and then he has to wait this extra week, Rav Sheshes has been struggling to come up with a pasuk for how we know that he would be mitame people, if he touches people. So, ahadulei b'bdichusa, and apparently Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami was, being a little bit too jokey about it. He was. Right, Cholash daite to Rav Sheshes, and then Rav Sheshes then felt badly. And Chevre, Cholash daite, when it comes to these early Amoraim, usually means trouble. Ishtik Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami, Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami became a mute, ve'isikr tamudei, and he forgot all of his learning. That was the price you paid if you made Rav Sheshes feel badly. We saw what happened when Rabbi Yochanan felt badly with Rav Kahana and with Rish Lakish. You don't want to make these Amoraim feel badly. So now, I say Ime, so Rashi understands this to be Rav Sheshes' mother then came to Rav Sheshes to try to convince him to make it go away, to have Rachmanis and Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami. And she wanted Rav Sheshes to have Rachmanis and Rav Achtavoy Bar Ami. So Asa Imis, Rav Sheshes' mother came, she was crying before Rav Sheshes, he was imploring him, She was crying and yelling and screaming, and Rav Sheshes says, no can do. Amra lei, at which point she did something very wacky. Chazi lehane chadoi dimotis minayu. She exposed her breasts and she says to Rav Sheshes, look at these breasts that you suckled from. Look what I have done for you. Look what I have provided for you. Can't you provide this favor for me? Barachme ole ve'itze. And Rav Sheshes then prayed for Rav Achtava bar Ami, and he was healed. And that is why Rav Sheshes was called the Ula Mishagish Orcha Deime, the child who made his mother go wacky. Okay, now Uda Asan Allah Minalan. Okay, so now back to the original question. How do we know that a Mitzorah during this week is Mitame Adam? So Kedetanis, we learn in the Brayso. Rav Shimon ben Yochai Omer says, Rav Shimon ben Yochai Nemar Kibus Begadim B'mei Svaro V'Nemar Kibus Begadim B'mei Chaluto. Well, it says that he has to wash his clothing at the end of this week, and it also says that he has to wash his clothing at the beginning of the week, meaning when he's pure and they they kick off the purification process. So they also wash his clothing. So just like when he was a definite mitzorah, he needs to wash his clothing at the end, and he's also mitame adam. So also when he's after that point in that final week, he's mitame his clothing, he's also mitame adam. Amr Balazar says, Balazar Gadol oset staka baseiser yosem Moshe Rabbeinu. A person who does charity in secret, in a concealed way, he is even greater than our teacher Moses. It says by Moshe Rabbeinu, Ki agorti mipnei av v'achema, that I was scared of the anger and the anger. Ve'ilu ba'oset staka ksiv, but it says by somebody who gives charity matan b'seiser, that somebody who gives charity in a concealed way, yichpe af, there will not be any more af, v'shochad b'cheik, and somebody who gives a gift in the bosom, I think that's what a cheik is, chema aza, gets rid of very strong chema. Ufliged Rabbi Yitzchak, and this argues in Rabbi Yitzchak, that says Rabbi Yitzchak af kofe, that it gets rid of af, of, anger, chema in a kofe, but not chema. How was that, like really, really angry? Shenemar, as the Bible says, v'shochad b'cheik, chema azah. Af al pi she'shochad b'cheik, even though you've given a gift, even though you've given charity, chema azah, there is still this chema, very strong chema. Ikidam to those who say, Amr B'Yitzchak, says B'Yitzchak kodayin shenotel shochad, maybe chema azah l'olam shenemar v'shochad b'cheik v'gomer, that any judge who accepts a bribe, he brings very strong chema to the world, as the pasuk says, v'shochad b'cheik v'gomer. Amr B'Yitzchak, says B'Yitzchak, kol anosin pruta la'ani mizbarich b'sheish brachis, that says Rav Yitzchak that somebody who gives a pruta, a little bit of money, to a poor person, he's blessed with 6 blessings. And somebody who appeases him with words, Mizbarich b'yud aleph brachos, is blessed with 11 brachos. Anosim pruta la'ani mizbarich b'sheish brachos. Somebody who gives a pruta to an ani is blessed with 6 blessings. Dichsiv, as the Apostle says, V'alo paros v'gomer v'ani mudim tavi boys v'gomer kisira arim v'gomer, and then the Agos Habach tells you the 6 brachas. And it says, Oz yibaka kashacha arecha, number 1, Baruch Chosecha mehera titzmach 2, v'halach lefonecha tzikecha 3, Kvod Hashem yasfecha 4, Uchsiv Oz tikra v'Hashem yana 5, Tishava v'yomer hineni, that is 6, v'amefaiso b'dvarim mizvarich b'achas esrei brachos, and somebody who appeases him with words is going to be blessed with 11 blessings. Shneimar, as the Apostle says, v'sofek larov nafshecha v'nefesh ne'eno tasbiyah. Did I read that right? I think so. Yeah. And then it says v'zorach. So let's read the pasuk because all the things are there. Okay. V'zorach b'choshech arecha 1, v'afiloscha katzarayim 2, v'nochacha Hashem tomid 3, v'zbiyah b'tzach tzachos nafshecha 4, v'atzmasecha yachlitz 5, v'ayisa kigan rove 6, u'chumot samayim ashol yichaz v'meimav 7, u'vanu mimcha charvos olam 8. Dor vador tikomim, 9. V'kori l'chol goder paretz, 10. Mishovev nisivos lav shavis. That's 11. Where are we? So those were all those things. Alright, fine. Okay, good. V'amar Rabbi Yitzchak, and says Rabbi Yitzchak, what does the pasuk mean? Rodev tzedakah v'chesed yimtzu chaim tzedakah v'chavod. Somebody who chases after tzedakah and kindness will find life and tzedakah and honor. Mishum derodev tzedakah yimtzu tzedakah. What, a person who's chasing after charity, to give charity, he's going to be in need of charity? That would sound like sort of not what we want. You should have to be saved from needing charity. So instead you call rodef achar tzedakah, somebody who chases after tzedakah, to give tzedakah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mamtzilo ma'os b'osa ben tzedakah. So the Eibishter will make sure that he has lots of money so that he could give tzedakah with it. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mamtzilo b'nei adam hamuganim la'asos le'en tzedakah. The Eibishter is going to find him people for whom it is befitting to give them tzedakah. K'dei lekabel aleim scharo says that he should receive reward for giving proper people charity. Lafuke mai, to exclude what? Lafuke mididarish rabba, to exclude what? Rabba expounded, didarish rabba, the rabba expounded. What does the pasuk mean? V'yiyu muchshalim l'fanecha, that Yirmiyah says about the people of Anosos that they should be failures before you, ba'es apcha, when you are angry with them, aseboim. Omar Yirmiyah l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yirmiyah says, Jeremiah says before the Eibishter, Ribono shel olam, Master of the world, afilu b'shah shekofen es Yitzron, even at the time when they overcome their Yetzirah, mavakshin la'asot tzedakah, and they want to do tzedakah l'fanecha before you, achshilam, b'vnei adam she'enam meuganim, make them fail with people who are not fit to receive charity. So that they will not receive reward. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Omar says, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi called Arogalasu Staka, somebody who normally gives charity. Zoche ahavyon lo bonim, ba'alei chochma, ba'alei osher, ba'alei agoda. He will merit to have sons who are have wisdom and wealth and agoda, Torah learning, but like the agadita kind of stuff, the interesting stuff, like this. Ba'alei chochma, dichsev, people of wisdom, right, sons that have wisdom. It says yimtzu chaim, right? The pasuk says yimtzu chaim, and Rashi says uchsev ki chochma, by chochma ki motzi motzo chaim. Ba'alei osher, they'll be wealthy. Dichsev tzedakah, because it says tzedakah. Ba'alei agoda, dichsev v'chavod, it says honor ksivacha v'chavod uchsevasim kavod chacham yunchalu, that the sages will have kavod, and that's a reference, we want to say, at least in this context, a reference to Agada, because you're always going to have some interesting Torah to teach, and it's going to bring you honor. What does Rashi say? He says, because they're going to expound and give shiurim, and they're going to inspire the people, and everyone is going to honor them, give them kavod. Friends, that was daf tes of Masechta BavaBasra. I think it was another very interesting daf. A lot of agadita, I think, to a large degree about tzedakah. And tomorrow is another daf of agadita. Depending on how far we get, maybe we will wrap up the agadita tomorrow, though tomorrow is a big old daf. So we'll see, but have a good one. Peace out.